Hello there, I'm Bill Heiner with you from now until noon, and in this part of the program we're taking a look at the way people protest when they feel they've got a very good argument against government intervention in their area. And one of this kind of illustrations affects part of Oxfordshire. Stop HS2. It also affects Buckinghamshire too. And Penny Gaines is from that campaign, Stop HS2. What's HS2?
HS2 is the proposed new railway that the government is proposing between London and Birmingham. It goes through a lot of different counties. It goes through London itself, through Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, as you mentioned, onto Warwickshire and Staffordshire. There's going to be a second phase, which is on to Leeds and Manchester, which is going to be announced in the new year. It was supposed to be announced before Christmas, but in the autumn statement, the Chancellor said it was going to be announced later than expected. It's very expensive. It's going to cost £17 billion to do the line between London and Birmingham, and a total of £33 billion if they do the whole route. It's the largest peacetime infrastructure project, so you can see the scale of it. It's not just a cheap little thing. It's very, very expensive. There's no business case for it. There's no environmental case for it. And with the expense, there's no money to pay for it. The government says it's necessary because the West Coast Main Line is going to be full quite soon. But when you look at the figures that they've produced just recently, trains leaving Euston in peak hours are only just over half full, which to most people's mind, that's half full, not nearly full. So at the moment, we've got a judicial review in London, which some of your listeners may have heard about. We found out about the 50% or just over 50% full the Friday before the judicial review started. So that's the first of the government's arguments that's been refuted that they're using at the moment. We've refuted lots of other arguments they've got. Some people think it'd be good for carbon, but the government's own figures say that it's carbon neutral. That means that once you've built it, you release a whole load of carbon emissions during the building process. But the amount of carbon that might be reduced after when the trains are running, it's more or less equals to that. And their own figures show that it might actually cause carbon emissions to go up. That's because the trains are so power hungry that you need more power, more electricity to be produced to run them. So that's another of the many arguments that we've gone through. And every time we find the evidence against one of their arguments, they say, oh, well, it's something else. And at the moment, we're finding they're going back to old arguments that we've refuted in the past.
So you resorted to some signs along the highways and some signs near Chequers. Now, tell me about these.
Well, Chequers is the Prime Minister's country house residence. It's so he goes there sort of at weekends sometimes, and he takes important visitors from overseas and from the cabinet and so on there as well. What we have is we have some very large signs that are on private land that say things like, it's not too late to change your mind about HS2, Dave. They're all focused at David Cameron, but obviously that other people see them as well. The other place we have signs is we have signs that you can download from our website, which is stophs2.org. People put them in their windows.
That wasn't a little subtle piece of advertising, was it?
Oh, you've caught me out there. I can repeat the website name, or I can.
You can scurry on, and
I can scurry on then. Yes.
And tell me about these signs near Chequers. How big are they?
They are.
Huge.
Huge, yes. I couldn't tell you precisely what the dimensions are, but they are
They're
huge.
Probably a blot on the landscape. Shame on you.
HS2 would be a bigger blot. That's the thing we're fighting against. HS2 goes through some very tranquil environments, goes across some really quite quiet and tranquil parts of the countryside, through Oxfordshire, through Buckinghamshire, through Warwickshire. You mentioned light pollution earlier. I've been to some of these places at night time, and you get so many stars. And one of the things that worries me is what's going to happen to those views of stars when you've got HS2, whether it's going to be sort of lit up at night.
How do you sum up your chances of winning the Stop HS2 campaign?
We think we've got a very good chance of winning it. It's not it's a bad plan wherever it goes. So the thing I most want to say is that the Green Party are opposed to HS2, which shows you it's people across the country who think HS2 is a bad idea. We're very hopeful that we will get it cancelled, and that's what we're all about, getting it cancelled.